Hello and welcome to this episode of the Mixtape podcast. This is where we take a deep dive into the inspirations and influences of my guest as I ask them to select 6 tracks for their imaginary mixtape. Track 1 is an attention grabber. Track 2 is a song they sing in the car or the shower. Track 3 is a cover version. For track 4, I'll ask them to pick a song they wish they could have played to their 18-year-old selves. Track 5 is a song they would use to woo someone. Track 6 is a track that my guest feels doesn't get the attention or recognition that it deserves. If you'd like to support the creation of this podcast, it's patreon.com/mixtape podcast, or you can check out the link in the description below. You can join for free or subscribe for as little as $2 a month. There's lots of other Patreon-only content on there, including the opportunity to ask guests a question and to have a personalised mixtape playlist curated by yours truly. There's lots of other ways you can support me, a like or a follow on social media. Again, there's links in the description for that. Or if you are listening on Spotify, you can smash the follow icon or you can rate the podcast. All of these little things go a long way towards growing the platform, and I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to this mixtape for KCR 102.5 FM and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, Queensland-based singer-songwriter Pat Tierney. How are you, Pat?
Good, mate. Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thanks for making the time and coming on. Really appreciate it, buddy. So let's talk about Lost in the Haze, mate. New album out now. Tell us a little bit about the album and some of your songwriting inspirations.
Yeah, for sure. I think the album came about sort of the back end of COVID. I was kind of giving myself a challenge of writing a song a week, basically, in COVID, and kind of just kept chipping away without really any plans. Just keep writing. And then eventually, 12 months later, I had this bunch of songs, that I thought, here's something that's, that I can head into the studio with. And there's a studio up here on the Sunshine Coast called Yamanui, where I did my last album. And we just kind of went in there every few weeks and started chipping away. And the album kind of started taking shape. And, I was listening to a lot of folk music at the time. So it was probably a lot of Bob Dylan, Gregory Alan Isaacoff, who's the amazing artist who I've been listening to a lot lately. Ben Harper's always in there. Harry Mex, and even the Beatles, and a lot of that great stuff was kind of, seeping through. And I think on this album we tried to be a little bit more adventurous, a bit more experimental with some of the songs and the production. So, it was just great when you get to the end and you've got that complete album, that you're happy with, and then it's just about letting it go then.
Sure. I've been playing a few tracks on the show over the last few weeks, and obviously we'll be hearing a few tonight as well. I wanted to ask you specifically though, on the title track, who does the backing vocals on that? Because that is sweet vocals, mate. Not that yours aren't.
Yeah. That's a friend of mine, Katie Millay. So she's a locally based Sunshine Coast singer-songwriter herself. And I think when I was writing the song and we were in the studio, I felt like it just needed another energy or another voice in there. We weren't really sure. And then when Katie came in and, within a couple of takes had laid that down, and we just sort of sat back and went, that's it.
Yeah. So you're touring at the moment and playing some album release shows over that side of the country. How have they been going, and how have they been received?
Yeah, they've been great. We did a Sunshine Coast show up here in the hinterland, which is really beautiful, at a really old pub in Mableton, high up on a mountain, and just a beautiful rustic old pub, and just 50 or 60 people. And then we did one in Brisbane, which is kind of where I started, my musical journey. So it was nice to play there, and sort of there was a lot of familiar faces in the audience for that one, friends, family, which is always lovely. And flying off to Perth this week. See you guys over there. So really, really excited.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you, mate. I last saw you, we met at the Suburban Vibes gig last year, I think it was. And you're playing Sofar Sounds this time around. Have you played with Sofar before? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, I've done a few so fars over the last kind of 10 years around the world. So I've done Brisbane and Melbourne, maybe. Did Perth in 2019 when I released my last album. And I even did a few over in San Francisco, package is called.
Yep.
So yeah, really fun gigs and just great way to connect with some new audiences as well.
Yeah, for sure. What we'll do, Pat, is we'll put, for people listening on the podcast and the YouTube channel, we'll put a link in the description to your website, your socials, and also obviously to the Sofar page where we can get tickets for the show. You're also playing Blues at Bridgetown at the weekend. You're absolutely making the most of it while you're over it, mate. Fair play to you. How's that? Have you played there before?
I haven't. I've been over to Western Australia a few times and absolutely love it. It's probably my favourite place in the country to play. And I've heard about Blues at Bridgetown for years and applied a few times over the years, but this was just meant to be this year, I think, with the album coming out, and just the timing felt, really good. So really stoked. Got lots of friends and mates playing at it as well, and keen to check out, some new acts and just be in a festival sort of setting again. It's, since COVID, it's kind of just been slowly, filtering back, but it's lovely to see it happening again.
Yeah, no, fantastic. That's going to be a great weekend. I've never been to that one myself. It's high on my list of ones to go, but I think like my girlfriend's been a few times, and I remember her saying to me, like, it's just like the festival's going on, and then you'll go to the shops, and then there'll be like someone busking like outside the shopping centre. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just that everybody descends on Bridgetown for the weekend of music. It sounds like a fantastic vibe.
Yeah, I think those little town festivals are my favorite because it's really just in that one epicenter, and the whole town just kind of feeds off that really beautiful energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just shout out your website quickly.
pattierney.com.au. You'll find all the bits and pieces.
Awesome. Let's go into your mixtape track choices then, Pat. All right. So track one, Pat, of your mixtape, and I asked you to pick an attention grabber, mate. What did you pick for that?
I believe that was Traveling Wilburys, Tweeter and the Monkey Man.
Yep, that was. Yep. What was it about that track?
Well, it's funny. I've loved Traveling Wilburys for years, and I don't know, in my years, I just somehow skipped over that song. I think because there's a few other big singles on the main album.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard the song, and it's just in the last 12 months that song popped up for me again. And it just sort of like stopped me in my tracks, as a lot of the Bob Dylan songs do. And I've just, it's just been on high rotation. It's in the car, especially driving around, and just love the track, just the poetry and the imagery and the production, and then just the harmonies and the backing vocals and everything about that song is just, just wonderful.
Yeah, you touched on it there. Is it Bob Dylan song? Obviously, it's under, it's released under Traveling Wilburys, but that is a Bob Dylan track.
Yeah.
Through and through, like with the lyrics and the story that it tells, like it absolutely is like just, it's got him written all over it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was talking to a friend about it the other day that if it was just a Bob Dylan song, it probably might not have the chorus, and it might just be the verses one after.
Yep. Yeah.
But because Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne are there, it's like, okay, we've got to put some hooks in this thing,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And track two, Pat, and I asked you to pick a song that you sing in the car or the shower, mate.
Yeah.
Tell us what you picked for that.
This would be the Bee Gees, Islands in the Stream. Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. I found it interesting that you went with the Bee Gees version, obviously made famous by Dolly and Kenny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I obviously I knew they wrote it, but it's just a classic duet for me. Yeah. Was there a reason why you went with the Bee Gees? With Dolly and Kenny?
I love Dolly, love Kenny, and I love singing along to that one. But I think it's just my love for the Bee Gees in my older age really shining through on that one. So I felt like I needed to pick their version. Yeah.
That is the second time that someone has come on the mixtape and picked the same song that I would pick. Someone else picked my track 6 in about episode, I think 10 or 11, but that is undoubtedly, unquestionably, the song that I sing in the shower every time. But in my mind, obviously, I'm giving away too much now, but I'm going to do it anyway. So in my mind, is me, it's me and Shirley Manson from Garbage doing the duet. It's not me and Dolly.
Do you do the high falsetto for the female?
I do try. It sounds awful in the shower. It sounds slightly better in the shower, but it does sound like awful. But yeah, I'll give it a decent crack, mate. Yeah. And that is my shower go to all day long. Yeah, absolutely love that track. Great choice, mate. Thanks for picking that one. Track 3 is your favourite cover version, mate. What did you pick for that?
My favorite cover version.
That was a Harry Manx track you picked.
Yep. That would be "Crazy Love,"
Mm-hmm.
I believe, which is an old Van Morrison
Sure.
classic. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think Van Morrison was such a staple in our house growing up. So, I knew the song. And then when I came to discovering Harry Manx as an incredible Canadian blues and roots artist, and I was learning slide guitar. And one of the first songs I heard him do was this incredible cover of "Crazy Love" on slide guitar. And I was stunned. It was kind of that old classic stuff with this new take on it. And, much like when people heard All on the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix's version, it had the same impact to me. It was like, wow, this has just been taken in this completely new area.
It's the most chosen track. That's the most chosen on the podcast. Yeah, definitely.
I can imagine. That one's definitely up there for me, Jimmy's. But I think just because of the love of slide guitar I have, and that, "Crazy Love" was an easy choice.
Yeah, sure. Just while I remember, I'll shoot you a message after, but I've interviewed a guy called Fink. I'm not sure if you're familiar. I think you'd like him. He does an amazing sort of bluesy slide guitar version of "All Cried Out" by Alison Moyet, 80s classic. I've seen it future. He's coming to Perth.
Yeah, I think I saw some stuff around.
Yeah, he's with Sofar. He's coming to Australia with Sofar Sounds. So, yeah, incredible artist. Yes, I'll shoot you that link afterwards. Just wanted to get that in while I remember. Track 4, Pat, what's a song that you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self?
It's going to be a Bob Dylan song.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is "Blind Willie McTell."
Yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah, that's the one.
What
would the 18-year-old Pat would have made of that track, do you think?
Well, I think I chose that one more from the perspective of, when you're younger, you brush over a lot of things. I think you're sort of so invested in yourself. And I think that song is one in my older age that has just, hit me to the core. So in my choice there, I think my choice was sort of going back and trying to present that song again to my 18-year-old self, and I suppose hoping that it would, make some impact.
Yeah, absolutely. What sort of stuff were you listening to at that age, Pat, when you were a young man?
Not strangely, but basically everything I'm listening to now.
Right.
I went through a big punk rock stage when I was 14 or 15. So I was listening to, the Clash and the Police, and then the American sort of punk pop stuff, Blink-182.
Yeah.
Then the blues and roots kind of took over, and I was listening to Ben Harper, Jack Johnson, Zadie Rudd. And then I always still had that elements, Oasis and The Verve and all that stuff was always floating around as well. So between all those artists I just named, that's literally still the same bunch of guys that I'm listening to.
Simon McCabe from The Verve, fantastic slide player as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, you love The Verve. I've just got their second album on vinyl, so that's coming in the next week or two.
Yeah, amazing. I've got a beautiful copy of the Urban Hymns.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right, track 5, Pat. If you were making up your mixtape to try and woo someone, like a romantic interest, what would you pick for that, mate? What track would you use?
Yeah, well, I chose Bob Marley, "Waiting in Vain." It's just such a beautiful, beautiful track. And I think, obviously Bob's known for his kind of political and,
protest songs
and stuff of that nature. But I've found diving into his catalog, when you dive into it, some of the love songs and the poetry and stuff is just beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's a very underrated songwriter, which is crazy to say, but yeah, just a beautiful track. And yeah, it's one of those songs I could just play on repeat. Oh no, just never get. So she want that to be shared with someone. Yeah.
I've had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Al Anderson from the Wailers. He played mostly, or like from the Natty Dread album onwards, and that's him. He plays on the live version of No Woman No Cry with that incredible solo as well.
Yeah, that's good.
That was just the easiest interview I've ever done. He just told his story for 30 minutes. I hardly spoke in the interview. It was nonsense. Yeah, it was so good. Like he told his story from he used to sell guitars. He used to buy guitars from Joe Bonamassa's dad, sell them in Boston to like Aerosmith and Fleetwood Mac and Free. And he got friends with Paul Kossoff, and he went to London, and he said Paul Kossoff was supposed to go in and do the overdubs for Natty Dread, and it was too too much on the piss. So he said he got the phone call and he went, "Oh, I've got my mate here. He's pretty decent. Like he'll come along." And that's how Al ended up becoming like one of the Wailers. He just stepped in for Paul Kossoff. Amazing story. Yeah, great podcast. Really enjoyed that one. Yeah, they're in Perth next week as well, I think. They're touring Australian Wailers. Yeah. Yes. All right. Speaking of the Marley family, track 6, Pat, was asked you to pick something that you feel is a little bit maybe underappreciated.
Yeah. Welcome to Jam Rock. Thank you, Marley. So another album that I think I heard sort of the end of high school, and it was that reggae roots meets hip stuff that just at that time was just such a explosion. And that's, I put that in my probably top 10 albums of all time as well. Yeah, and it probably doesn't get the love or sort of attention here in Australia. I'm sure it's probably different in Europe and South American, North American stuff, but just the opening track, absolute banger. Yeah.
How hard must it be to go and make a career in music when your dad's Bob Marley?
Yeah.
The judgment and the expectation must be like huge, and like shout out Ziggy Marley as well. Like they've both done it and done it really, really well in their own right. So yeah, it must have been the weight of expectation and pressure must have been huge.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I love Ziggy, and I love Stephen Marley as well, but I think Damien found a way to kind of imprint his own authentic self while still honoring his dad, and it's in this just really sweet spot, I think, which is really great, which, such respect, because the pressure and just the expectation that I think is would be massive. Yeah.
Just to round out the chat, Pat, what's your future plans, mate? Post Blues at Bridgetown and the album launch shows. What have you got planned for sort of early part of next year?
Yeah, we'll get back from Bridgetown and I'll be moving house, which is exciting. And my partner is due on the 6th of December.
Okay. Good luck with that, mate.
Yeah, man. So then we'll just have some quiet time for a few months. Yeah. And February, March next year, I'm kind of be ramping things up again, doing like a bit of a part 2 of the album tour. So I'll try and get some places that I wasn't able to get to this first time around. So New South Wales, Victoria, down that way, that side of the country. So and then just more writing and looking to try and get some overseas touring trips happening next, which is cool.
Awesome.
So,
okay, awesome. It's pattierney.com.au if you want to connect with Pat, and tickets for shows, merch, t-shirts, vinyl. You got some lovely looking vinyl I saw on your merch store as well. Safe travels to the West, mate, and I'll see you on Thursday. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, Mark. Legend.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one. Cheers, Pat. See you, mate. Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. All the links that you will need are in the description below. Link to my Patreon, my guest website and social media, my social media, and the link to the Mixtape tracks playlist as chosen by today's guest. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.